I need your help. I need your help. I can't do it alone. I'm overwhelmed. I beg you, I beg you, I beg you. So I'm fighting this fight.
Federal Detention Center, Manhattan, Monday, 12 o'clock a.m. Inside cell to B17. The air hovered at a biting 16 degrees Celsius. Cold enough that shivering came without thought. Beneath the flicker of a faulty fluorescent bulb, Diddy sat curled against the concrete wall, hands clenched, eyes wide, staring unblinking into the darkness. 3 days, not a single word. No defiance, no resistance, just silence. Long enough, deep enough to raise suspicion. The same man who once commanded arenas of 50,000, reduced to a hunched, fragile figure inside a cage barely 10 square meters wide, surrounded by cold steel, mesh, and infrared surveillance. As the morning shift guard walked past, he barely slowed. A quick glance inside, then a quiet exchange. With his partner, hasn't eaten since they brought him in. No coffee, refuses everything. Whatever he saw, it broke him. No further explanation was needed. The name Diddy, once synonymous with music, fashion, and wealth, now topped crime reports, extortion, violence, prostitution, parties, missing persons, video evidence, and the only person who could ignite this scandal into a firestorm, or smother it entirely, was his son, according to an FBI source. During simultaneous raids in Los Angeles, New York, and Florida, agents seized mountains of evidence from Diddy's properties, hard drives capturing debauched teaser original, photographs of celebrities in compromising situations, audio recordings of threats against former associates, but the focus wasn't on what they had found, it was on what was missing. Several known video clips, long rumored to exist, had vanished from all known systems, and the last person believed to hold copies, Diddy's son, the same son who'd accompanied his father on tours, private jets, exclusive parties, but who, according to sealed investigative files, had severed ties years ago, after a hushed incident involving a young artist who disappeared, following a party at Diddy's Miami mansion. Since then, the son vanished from the public eye, but quietly, he'd been gathering data. Hundreds of files, clips, backups, partly as insurance, partly for revenge. And now, those files were the blade pressed against his father's throat. Diddy knew it. The moment his son's name appeared on the list of potential witnesses, every legal lifeline snapped. No lawyer could save him. No settlement would be enough. No loyalist remained. Only one option remained: beg. The meeting was arranged under strict conditions, 15 minutes, in a high-security isolation room. Overhead cameras, 2 guards behind one-way glass. Every word recorded. Still, Diddy agreed. Not as a criminal to a prosecutor, but as a father to his son. His last gamble. When the steel door slid open, no one spoke. The son, now a young man, hidden behind a gray hoodie and mask, walked in, sat on the stainless steel chair. No hug, no greeting, no anger. Only suffocating silence between two people who once shared a home, a stage, a last name, now seated like bitter enemies. Diddy stayed frozen. For 12 minutes, jaw clenched, fists trembling, face carved with fear. Then, he moved. Hesitant steps, dropping to his knees. The camera captured it clearly. The once mighty mogul kneeling on cold concrete, clutching his son's knees, voice cracking. "Son, please, don't release that stuff. They won't just kill me in court. They'll bury the past. They'll destroy our family's name. You don't understand. You're my last hope." The son didn't flinch. His eyes stayed locked, cold, unreadable. No tears, no emotion, just detachment. Diddy pressed harder, desperation breaking every syllable. "If you hand those over, everything falls apart. Not just for me, for everyone who ever believed in me. I was wrong, I know. But if you go through with this, there's no coming back. Save me, I'm begging you." Finally, the son spoke slow, flat, brutally clear. "You're being recorded. You're breaking yourself." He pulled his leg free from Diddy's grip, stood up, turned away. Diddy stayed kneeling. UNMOVING. In that moment, the man who once made the music world bow was reduced to a solitary, broken figure, clinging to the last thread of hope that his son wouldn't become the shadow that erased him forever. As the steel door shut behind his son, one guard whispered to the other, "The only thing he has left is a failed plea." Part 2. The leaked footage. A fire ignited behind bars Tuesday, 7:17 p.m., exactly 26 hours after the meeting between Diddy and his son. The footage leaked out. It first appeared on an anonymous online forum, infamous for sharing censored material. At first, it was just a 28-second, blurry, silent clip. A man in a prison uniform kneeling before a masked young man. But within 45 minutes, the full version surfaced, audio included on a Telegram channel with over 200,000 members. The caption read simply, "The truth cannot be buried." The FBI scrambled to contain the fallout. The Justice Department triggered emergency media protocols, but it was far too late. The video erupted across Reddit, X formerly Twitter, and YouTube, dissected frame by frame by independent outlets. CNN was first to broadcast a blurred version, concealing the son's face, but leaving Diddy's sobs and desperate pleas intact. 4 hours later, every major network, Fox, MSNBC, ABC, ran variations of the same explosive headline. Diddy begs his son not to submit evidence. Shocking jail footage leaked. Behind closed doors, panic erupted. An internal FBI leak confirmed the video had never been authorized for backup, stored only on the detention center's encrypted surveillance system, accessible by just 3 individuals: the shift supervisor, special investigations officer, a technician overseeing data encrypt. Yet the leaked video had perfect audio synced, meaning someone on the inside, a mole, had betrayed the system. 2 investigations launched. Immediately, identify the source of the leak, uncover the motive. Theories exploded. Was this an insider exposing Diddy ahead of trial? A pressure tactic aimed at forcing the son's hand? Or did the son orchestrate the leak himself? A silent, public message online. The world split in two. One side praised the son, revealing his father's desperation, stripping away the myth of invincibility. The other condemned him, calling him heartless, a traitor to his bloodline, exploiting the media to destroy his father. Wild theories surfaced. The FBI leaked the footage to test public reaction. A guard sold it for 6 figures. Tech insiders manipulated the system. Nothing confirmed. But one fact stood clear. The gravity of this case had eclipsed everything expected. At the White House, reporters pressed for answers. Was the Diddy case an isolated scandal, or a symptom of corruption infecting the justice system? The press secretary responded cautiously. We have full confidence in the Justice Department's independent process. What occurred in that footage does not represent the system as a whole, but it will be addressed with the utmost seriousness. It wasn't enough to silence growing suspicion. Meanwhile, privacy advocates and human rights attorneys took the stage, not defending Diddy, but condemning the leak. A veteran ACLU lawyer told CNN, no matter how appalling his alleged behavior, allowing this video to leak sets a dangerous precedent. It tells the public that anyone, even before standing trial, can be recorded, stripped emotionally, and judged by the masses. But the storm wasn't over. Hours later, the FBI received an anonymous email. I have a second copy. This one includes footage of him threatening his victims. Attached was a 15-second, never-before-seen clip. Diddy, in a private room, slamming his hand on a table, snarling, "If she opens her mouth, I'll release that tape. Who's going to believe some second-rate singer over me?" The FBI's priorities shifted instantly. All available personnel redirected to tracking the sender. Victim case files reopened, regardless of Justice Department approval. Protection protocols considered, including for Diddy's own son. This wasn't a case anymore. It was a war of technology, media, and narrative control, and the silence of Diddy's son, the most dangerous, unpredictable variable of all. Part 3. Former victims speak memories from hellish parties. Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. Brooklyn. Inside a small, rented studio on the quiet outskirts of Brooklyn, a single spotlight illuminated the face of a woman in her early 30s. Dark sunglasses shielded her eyes. Her voice trembled. Her hands gripped the sleeves of a worn wool coat. The interviewer spoke gently. "Are you ready to share what happened that night?" For a long moment, silence. Then, a small nod. The camera rolled. And just 1 hour later, the first clip exploded across Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, carrying the caption, "I was one of the people taken to the Miami mansion in 2017. Part 3. Former victims speak memories from hellish parties. Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. Brooklyn. Inside a small, quiet studio on the edge of Brooklyn, a single spotlight illuminated the trembling face of a woman in her early 30s. She wore dark sunglasses. Her voice shook. Her hands gripped the sleeves of a worn wool coat, like she might fall apart without them. The interviewer asked, softly, Are you ready to share what really happened that night? A long silence. Then a slow, brave nod. The camera rolled. And just 1 hour later, the clip spread across Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, with one caption: I was one of the people taken to the Miami mansion in 2017, and I'm still alive. Her name? Amara G.A., former studio singer, a collaborator with Bad Boy Records. She'd vanished without explanation in March 2017, after attending a private party at Diddy's Miami mansion. Her disappearance was quietly logged in LAPD internal files, but never made public. No evidence, no press, just silence. Until now, Amara was the first to show her face, the first to speak the truth, in vivid, harrowing detail. She recounted that night, being lured to the mansion, forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement, under threat, spotting a hidden camera tucked inside a flower vase. She spoke of celebrities, watching silently, doing nothing. I was filmed while unconscious, she said. They used those videos to keep me silent. For 6 years. Within 4 hours of Amara's testimony going live, 3 more victims stepped forward. A former record label employee, a stylist for a famous female artist, a lighting assistant. They hadn't coordinated. They didn't know each other. But their stories matched almost perfectly. Private parties, drugged drinks, hidden cameras, threats, silenced out their accounts triggered a wave of reverse investigations. Independent journalists, lawyers, former employees, all began cross-referencing party dates, guest lists, and locations, spanning from 2015 to 2022. Secret online database was created under the name Reclaim Silence. Its purpose: identify victims, track who had been filmed, find out who was still alive, determine who had simply vanished. The Washington Post later revealed 11 official testimonies had been submitted to the FBI, all consistent, phones confiscated. At the door. Private security, watching their every move. No way to escape. One anonymous victim confessed, I used to think Diddy was an icon, but after that night, I couldn't look anyone in the industry in the eye, because they were there too. Even more damning, a former Diddy bodyguard, known only as T, appeared anonymously on a podcast and confirmed it was a system. There was a process: selection, filming, distribution. T admitted, I personally burned 3 hard drives in the storage room. Diddy told me, we've got a leak. I knew those drives had footage of girls crying. His voice cracked. One time, I saw a mother come knocking, looking for her daughter. They sent her away. This shook the media to its core. Major outlets began a desperate hunt for T's real identity. Meanwhile, the FBI confirmed they had started protecting high-risk witnesses, especially those who'd been at parties where hidden cameras were used. It was no longer about individual crimes. This was an organized system. A criminologist from Georgetown University said on NPR, this isn't just misconduct. This is a dark power structure where fame, money, and silence are traded as weapons. Celebrities once loyal to Diddy suddenly unfollowed him across social platforms. They deleted old photos. Some issued cold public statements. We knew nothing about what happened, but the public wasn't buying it. The conversation shifted. How many people knew? How many stayed silent? And who's the next victim ready to speak? In a brief press conference, the FBI spokesperson confirmed, we are expanding the investigation to include structured, organized criminal involvement. There may be more individuals involved than the public currently knows. Just an hour later, internal FBI emails leaked. They were analyzing a new hard drive. It had arrived that morning. Inside 29 encrypted clips never seen before, extracted from the Miami mansion and LA penthouse surveillance systems. A source close to the investigation said, we've seen things beyond imagination. No one doubts how serious this case really is now. Part 4. The second hard drive. A double game and a media war. Thursday morning, an unmarked brown envelope appeared at the gate of the Guardian probe, an independent investigative magazine. Inside, an old, scratched portable hard drive in anti-static foil, single sheet of paper typed in Courier New. This is a copy of what they don't want you to see. The recipient, Jake Maroro, a journalist known for exposing the Weinstein and Epstein scandals. Within 6 hours, the Guardian's digital forensics team made a chilling discovery. The drive contained 70 encrypted video files footage from at least 9 location symptoms from 2016 to late 2022. But it wasn't just the content. It was how the files were labeled. Do not release to threaten not yet already dealt with. Each folder was meticulously organized by artist name, occupations, sensitivity level. Notes included: keeper's insurance not to be used yet. Send to lawyer C. This wasn't just random blackmail. It was a catalogued, large-scale blackmail system. Mororo made a quick decision. He did not release the files. He encrypted a copy and sent it to a coalition of journalists across the US, Canada, France, and Germany. The strategy mirrored the Panama Papers and Snowden leaks. When evidence is too big, spread it globally so no one can kill the story. But here's what no one expected. The FBI wasn't first to know about the second drive. 2 hours before the story broke, an anonymous post appeared on X:#drive to expose if the first drive made him kneel. The second will shake all of us showbiz. Was this a coordinated release? Was there a shadow network controlling the timing? Experts began calling it a double game. Media outlets wanted exclusives. Officials needed time to control fallout. The source could apply political pressure at the perfect moments. And the public, caught in the middle, emotionally manipulated from all sides. At the Justice Department's press briefing, a reporter asked, "Is it true the second hard drive reached the press before the FBI had access?" The spokesperson deflected, "We do not comment on unverified evidence. But if relevant, it will be prioritized at the highest level." Behind the scenes, panic spread. A congressional insider leaked that some files from the second drive contained the names of US senators, campaign donors, and major entertainment CEOs. The Diddy case was no longer about one man. It had cracked open a crisis of power, ethics, and elite collusion in America. Lobbyists scrambled. Major outlets quietly pulled their in-depth stories. Senior editor at a top publication told Politico, "We were ordered to pause deep coverage until we get legal clearance. That only happens when national security or top-level individuals are involved." On social media, #Diddy files exploded. Fake accounts, conspiracy theories, speculation about whether the second drive was a fake or the final piece that could bring the system down. Then another anonymous message appeared in the Guardian probe's inbox, typed in the same courier, new font. "There is still a third drive, and this time, it's not just video." Part 5. Traitor to the system, or true hero. Friday, midday, a photo surfaced on Reddit, 4chan, and X. A man in a gray hoodie, face blurred, stepping out of a FedEx facility in New Jersey, holding an anti-static pouch identical to the one from the second hard drive. The caption read, "This is the man who broke a 7-year silence." By 5 p.m., the FBI confirmed his identity. Kelvin Rhodes is former senior IT systems administrator at Revolt TV, Diddy's own network. He'd been in charge of post-production storage. Placed on indefinite leave in late 2022. Vanished. No social media. No employment records. Until now. A former colleague recalled. He used to joke, "Working here feels like sitting on a bomb, and I'm holding the lighter." It quickly emerged. Rhodes's didn't just leak one drive. According to his attorney, he copied 3.1, went to the press. 1, to an international human rights group. The third is wired to automatically release everything if anyone tampers with his protection. A dead man's switch. Friday night, Rhodes appeared in an exclusive interview on Nightscope News. His face hidden, his voice altered, filmed in Belgium. "I'm not sabotaging anyone. I just couldn't stand by and do nothing. I saw what they buried, and I can't bury the truth anymore. I don't work for the FBI. I don't work for the press. I work for my conscience." In a 42-minute bombshell, Rhodes confirmed at least 5 government officials, 3 A-list artists, 2 tech CEOs, had tried to either buy him off or track him down. Some offered 6-figure payoffs. Others sent warnings. One sent a private team to his mother's door at 2 a.m. The FBI immediately classified him as a special witness. His lawyer negotiated with international human rights groups to ensure if Rhodes's residence is tampered with or his protection is breached, the third drive will be released automatically. Online, people split. Is he a hero or a pawn in a bigger game? Regardless, the damage was done. Thanks to Rhodes's old FBI files were reopened. Cold cases involving missing young artists, stylists, backstage crew, all with one common thread. They attended Diddy's private events. In Hollywood, a new campaign swept across social media. #expose the rooms. Insiders were now encouraged to share stories of hidden cameras, spiked drinks, cash for silence, NDAS. In 48 hours, over 14,000 posts appeared across X. Instagram, TikTok, even an Emmy-winning director P. Part 6, the list starts to unravel. Hollywood can no longer stay silent. Saturday, 7 hours after the second hard drive, leak one by one. 7 well-known artists vanished from public view. They deleted photos, disabled comments, withdrew from brand deals. Among them were 2 Oscar-winning actors, a Grammy-nominated music producer, global fashion model, the face of a French luxury empire. An insider from the advertising industry whispered to the press. Brands are triggering pause clauses left and right. They're terrified the list will expose names connected to those parties. The media pounced. But this wasn't a typical scandal. Major outlets abandoned neutrality. CNN, BBC, Vice, The Guardian, all launched deep dive specials under one name, the Diddy Ring Exposure. In a tense 90-minute CBS broadcast, veteran analyst Julia Carmichael declared, "This is no longer about one man. It's an ecosystem nurtured by power, silence, and blind faith in reputation. And now, it's fracturing." The next crack came from across the Atlantic. Paris, France. A former elite event manager filed a formal complaint in French court. He alleged that powerful names on the blacklist had pressured him to arrange special guests, trafficked through international underage modeling agencies. The hearing has begun, with Interpol support. Back in the US, the nonprofit Survivors United reported being overwhelmed. Over 240 emails all in just 3 days, victims or witnesses claiming they were forced to attend Diddy-related parties at least 18 described. Hidden camera strings, laced with unknown substances, filmed without consent. A leaked clip from a private victim support livestream captured one woman, identified only as E, quietly sobbing. "I thought it was just a party. But when I watched myself in the video, used to threaten me, I understood. We were never guests, we were pawns." But the most staggering revelation hit Washington, D.C. A U.S. Congress member, known publicly for championing black artists' rights, was implicated. An email recovered from Kelvin Rodas's hard drive exposed an off-the-record contribution. The sender, a shell company linked to Diddy. The timing, just 3 weeks before that same Congress member voted to block an investigation into a 2020 media abuse scandal. Meanwhile, anonymous accounts flooded X posts and blurred party photos, snippets of private emails, calendar entries. At least 3 major record label CEOs were implicated, names tied to Interscope, ROC Nation, and Sony Music. The companies scrambled to issue denials. "We have no involvement in artists' personal conduct." But the market spoke louder than words. Stocks plunged between 4% and 12% in just 2 days. The blow that followed, even harsher. A BAFTA-winning documentarian, known for fearless investigations into the Vatican and Hollywood abuse, stepped into the fray. He announced a global collaboration, Chamber 47, an investigative series exposing 47 high-profile individuals named in the evidence database. The list: 6 hold key positions in film studios, record labels, and streaming platforms. More are expected to fall by Saturday evening. The FBI confirmed emergency subpoenas issued. 9 top entertainment figures called to closed-door hearings. Among them, a former Warner Brothers CEO and a major New York music distributor. But that wasn't the headline. The real shock was the whispered promise behind those subpoenas. The contents of the third hard drive are about to emerge. And it isn't just video. 11:59 p.m. The Guardian probe updated its homepage. "You are not ready for what comes next. The final word for now." A father kneels inside a prison visiting cell. His voice breaks, his reputation in ruins. Not pleading for truth, but for the last fragile shred of honor. But the truth, it cannot be bought. And trust, once shattered, never restored. The first hard drive cracked the illusion. The second hard drive shook the foundations. But now, it's not the drives. It's the people. The ones who've been silent for too long. The ones who've decided, enough. Kelvin Rhodes isn't the hero. Diddy's son isn't the villain. They are just the sparks. And Hollywood, the place that believed fame could cover everything, is finally crumbling. Piece by piece. The only question left. It's no longer, who is right and who is wrong. It's, how many more are about to stand up, carrying truths the world isn't allowed to know. What do you think of Diddy's desperate kneeling? Will the son stay silent, or become the final witness to his father's downfall? And how many more hard drives are hiding in the dark? Leave a comment below if you believe the truth. Nick.